Hello, everybody, and welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. Happy New Year! The 2026 NFL League year has begun. Schmeelk, Paul Dottino with you, a special 4 p.m. edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live. It's all presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the football Giants. Paul Dottino, Happy New Year.
You too, John. I guess it started about, 2 minutes ago now? The ball has hit in Times Square, and the NFL has begun its 2026 calendar year, which means, for those of you who may not be aware, you can now officially sign guys. And by the way, the other part to this is it also means you now have to worry about the cap number, which means there will be some more cap trimmings around the league, and we will hear about them, I'm sure, very quickly.
Everyone must be cap compliant now that the new league year has begun, so something to keep in mind. One report just came down that Javon Hargrave's going to get let go by the Vikings, so it'll be moves like that as teams. The Kyler Murray release is going to happen, or I guess it just happened. So that they wasted no time there.
There you go.
Seems like he's going to the Vikings. We'll see if that happens. But teams had to be cap compliant,
right?
Which I think with the Max Crosby thing yesterday becomes interesting for a team like the Raiders, though apparently they have enough cap space to survive that. We could talk about that. Anything else you want to talk about, give us a call at 201-939-4513. So, Paul, we haven't had much of a chance yet to talk about a few of these signings. So
okay. I
want to give you a chance to go first. I'll react, and then we'll kind of go back and forth. First, a guy that we've talked about since the beginning of this process, Patrick Ricard. Coming over as a fullback offensive lineman. According to reports, the Giants have agreed to terms with pending a physical. The fullback from the Baltimore Ravens, Patrick Ricard. And by the way, now everyone understands why we have to say it's according to reports and pending a physical, agreed to terms.
Hello,
I think Ravens
Max
and
Crosby.
Raider fans understand that very well, and
Max.
that's why we have to consistently and repetitively say all of that.
I still think we should make a jingle out of that. I really do.
No, you have to hire somebody. I'm not singing. Do you want to sing for it?
Johnny Mac could do it.
Have you heard him sing?
I haven't, but I'm guessing that he seems like a jolly fellow. I think
jolly. It doesn't mean he has a good voice.
Okay.
Johnny, I don't want to assume things. Johnny Mac, thumbs down, right? You can't sing. No, can't sing.
All right,
See, I knew it.
Maybe Pearson could sing. I don't know.
Nice.
Now, look, if you need me to do it, I'll do it.
So you have a nice you want the jingle in like a Boston accent? Is that what you're looking for?
That'd be pretty funny, actually.
I'm not sure we want a Boston accent on our program. You can do that, Pearson?
He says he can. He says he can.
So let's start with Ricard here, Paul.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, someone we've talked about a bunch here, someone the Giants might be interested in. He's, I think, going to turn 32. If I'm not mistaken, later this year.
Six-time Pro Bowler.
Six-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro once, second-time All-Pro twice. And look, he's a 6 foot, 300-pound fullback that is a lead blocker extraordinaire. He's not going to do much for you in the passing game, but he's a big body, and if you want a big downhill physical run game, he's your guy.
Yeah, it's quite clear if you look at what the Giants have done the last couple of days that John Harbaugh wants a bigger framed, sturdier, more physical, more imposing team on the field because they go to the big, massive fullback in Ricard. They decide they're going to use a slot tight end instead of a slot wide receiver by getting Isaiah Likely to come in and be part of this offense instead of Wan'Dale Robinson, who left to go to the Titans. You see those two things, and that tells you right off the bat. The reported, I don't think it's been official yet, about Manhurts coming back, another big body who he did not want to let out of the building. This all shows you, the fact that Edmonds is 6'4", 250 at middle linebacker, much bigger frame, sturdier than Bobby Okereke. It's clear that John Harbaugh wanted to make this team bigger and bulkier. So that's my first observation. My second observation is this. I don't think now with the addition of Ricard into the lineup, I don't think the Giants are likely to keep 4 tight ends anymore. We kind of discussed that as a possibility if they didn't get a fullback. Now you've got Ricard. I mean, basically.
You could go light at wide receiver if you wanted to. If you want to only keep 4 wideouts, you could keep 4 tight ends and a fullback if you
I
want.
don't know if you want to do that with Jackson Dart going into his second year, wanting to get him some extra speed on the outside. I don't know if you'd want to skimp on the receivers.
Yeah, maybe not. But you're right. And to me, this is a continuing to send the message that this will look much less like the Matt Nagy offense in Kansas City and much more like the Greg Roman offense in
Without
Baltimore.
a doubt.
Not in terms of schematics necessarily, but in terms of personnel and what it looks like and what they want to accomplish. That's the message that I've been sent loud and clear by what the Giants have done in free agency.
Yeah, the Giants will be much more like the Parcells-Earhart offensive attack, from those days, which was, we're going to batter you. We're going to hit you. We're going to make you feel it. You're going to be black and blue. Let's pound away. Hey, Neighbors, he comes back. He's still going to be explosive. He's going to make big plays. Likely still going to get downfield. Dart's not going to be afraid to do dynamic things. But when push comes to shove, there are going to be moments and there are going to be drives in the ballgame where the Giants are going to slug people. That's the only reason you signed a nearly 300-pound fullback, is you want to slug people.
Correct. And I will get back to that in a second. But I want to get to the 2 other signings that we haven't talked about yet. But I do think that's important. That revolves around something else that the Giants might still have to do. Jason Sanders, the kicker from Miami. Again, according to reports, the Giants have agreed to terms with kicker Jason Sanders. Since kicking since 2018, 7th-round pick. So do the math. That's 7 years kicking, 8 years in the league. He did not kick last year, had a hip injury, missed the entire year. Should be, from my understanding, is that he should be good to go relatively soon, like nowish in the offseason. Remarkably consistent, 85% percentage. Inside of 40 yards, he's just missed 4 kicks his entire career. In his last year in 2024 for Miami, 12 of 14 from 50-plus. Obviously has experience kicking in cold weather, having to kick at Buffalo as a member of the Dolphins. Knows our stadium, having to kick at the Jets. Now, that's just having to do that once a year is much different than having to do it every game.
Foxborough.
Also in Foxborough, playing the Patriots, absolutely right. So, a little different than having to be here every week, but at least he knows the stadium and he knows what he's getting into. And he's been a remarkably consistent kicker over his course of his career in the National Football League.
You mentioned his 50-plus yard field goal success rate, which, by the way, has been throughout his career. It wasn't just 1 year. His whole career, he's been really great. I believe he's over 75%. From over 50, which is nuts. And did you see his touchback percentage, John?
Well, I don't think you want the touchback percentage now because that's not really relevant anymore.
No, but my point is he has a cannon of a leg, so you never have to worry about trying to adjust what it is you want to do with him.
Right.
Whatever you need him to do, he can do it. And that's the beauty of it, because he's got the ability to boom a long field goal. And if you want him to boom the ball for whatever reason on a kickoff, you've absolutely got the ability to do that too at any given time.
And he's 30 years old. So he's someone that is kind of right in your prime as a kicker, right? You figured out how to do it mechanically. You're mature, but you're not getting older yet. So I think it's he's 33 of 48 on 50-plus yard field goals, so that's about 70%.
Oh, a little less than I thought.
Give or take.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought I said 75.
33 divided by 40, I got to try to figure that out. I think that probably comes in right around like 69%,
okay,
give or take, something like that.
I knew he was up there.
Double check those numbers. But 12 of 14 last year, 5 of 7 the year before. In 2021 and 2022, he had 2 of 6 years from 50. So those are the 2 years where he struggled a little bit. 8 of 9 in 2020, 3 of 5 in 2019. So he is certainly in the last 2 years where he's been 17 of 21, which is excellent in terms of percentages from 50
All-Pro
plus.
too.
So he's done a really nice job. Yeah, he was an All-Pro kicker in 2020. So nice addition. Again, the Giants have not made any official moves yet when it comes to Jamie Gillen and Graham Gano. So we'll stay tuned if something happens there.
Did they not announce Gillen release?
I don't think I might
not official.
Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
Johnny Mac, could you check on that, please? I think Gillen was officially announced as a release.
No, I can see it on the website right now.
Okay, but Gano has not. No, I have not seen anything about Graham Gano. I thought Gillen might have been officially, but maybe not.
Either way, whether it's official or not,
well, you just signed a kicker and you signed a punter. So
correct.
What do you think's going to happen to the 2 guys who are here?
That is correct. See, I do not see that on the website yet.
Okay.
So I do not think that is.
Then maybe it was not official as of yet.
Official from what I can tell based on what I'm seeing on Giants.com.
Okay.
And then the third move that happened a couple days ago, but we didn't have much of a chance to talk about it because I wasn't sure how official it was. The Giants, according to reports, agreeing to terms with safety Ardarius Washington, someone I mentioned early on our Monday show that I thought could be a low-cost ad for the Giants, Paul. And he didn't play much on defense until 2024 when he took over a big role in that Ravens defense, allowing Kyle Hamilton to go to that spot in the slot where he really had a lot of success. Washington played some in the slot as well.
Yep.
He's a unique player. Really good college tape, but he's only 5'8", 180 pounds.
He's Dante Dion.
But man, he is, gosh, that is a blast name from the past. Jeez, that's a long time ago.
Am I not right?
You're not wrong. But he doesn't play like he's 5'8", 180.
No.
He flies to the ball. He tackles. Now, it does show up sometimes when he's trying to, bring down bigger backs, and he has trouble doing it. But he's got good instincts. He'll fly to the football. He reads quarterbacks well. He makes plays on the ball in the air. He gets his head around. So I know a lot of people think, special teams player and all that. With Dane Belton reportedly signing elsewhere, right now he's the third safety. And I could see him getting significant playing time on defense depending on how this goes.
Like what happens with the 5th pick in the draft.
Well, yeah. I mean, you never know who else gets added, right?
No, but you're right. You're right. He is a very interesting player because you're right. He absolutely plays bigger than his size. You look at him and it's like, are you serious? But he does what he does.
His attitude is bigger than his size, right?
There's no doubt.
He kind of plays like Nate Robinson. He's like the Nate Robinson of the NFL.
Yes, I love that. Yes, he's the Nate Robinson of the Giants now. I think that's a great comparison. Heart as big as a mountain. I mean, he when you watch his clips, I went back and I looked because I'm like 5'8", 177. I don't remember watching him when the Ravens were on television. I did not. So I'm like, all right, let me go back and look at some of the video.
No, it's fun.
Oh, yeah, he flies around.
No, it's fun.
He's not afraid of anybody.
No, he is not. It's
no
fun.
matter how small he is, he's not afraid.
So what's the odds when Lance comes in to host Big Blue Kickoff Live tomorrow, he's wearing an Ardarius Washington Giants jersey?
It might be too big for him.
I know.
Whoa, baby!
I was literally about to say it's going to be 2 sizes too big, but you beat me to the punch. But he is definitely going to be Lance's new favorite Giant.
Well, sure. But again, you mentioned special teams, and yes, you're right, John. Mm-hmm. He's not an exclusive special teams player, but he's going to get down there and kick coverage. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, with Belton reportedly agreeing to a deal with the Jets, 20 special teams tackles last year was tied for 6th in the National Football League. Do not underestimate the value of Belton on his kick coverage last year. He was really good. Him and Art Green were the 2 guys who really did a great job getting down there. And by the way, Art Green did reportedly agree.
Yep, according to reports,
right? I think he did, and that's a big deal because, again, he was one of the 2 best guys getting down there. So at least Art Green supposedly back in the fold. That's a big deal, and they need to now find somebody to help replace Belton's tackles. This guy could be part of that.
All right, and Moose and I talked about it yesterday, so people have heard my spiel on it, but we haven't heard yours yet. So your take on the Greg Newsome signing, the Giants trying to replace Cordell Slott at outside corner.
Well, he's a 6-foot corner, former first-round draft pick. He's got some pedigree in this league. Been hurt a little bit. I think it's a no-lose for the Giants because you still have no idea where Tay Banks' head is in terms of his ability to play corner.
I thought you'd be a little bit more excited about it, to be honest with you. The way he plays, he likes to press and be very physical at the line. He's a very Paul Dottino-ish corner.
I agree. I like it. But at the same time, he did split his time last year between 2 teams.
Yep, got traded after week 5 in a rare player-for-player trade, which
very strange. Very often. Jacksonville gets him, and apparently he did not overwhelm Jacksonville because they did not necessarily make a pitch to keep him.
I think his best ball was played in his first 3 years with the Browns.
Yes, I concur with that. In fact, I remember when he came out, we thought of him as, that's a pretty good corner.
Yeah, he can play slot and inside too. He's done both.
He can play both. He absolutely can.
I talked to a buddy in Cleveland who thought that he was a little bit better in the slot, but he goes, you don't want him playing a lot of, off zone. You want him pressing and you want him mirroring wide receivers.
And he's got some length to him.
He does, yeah. And he's got physicality.
Yeah.
He's physical.
I like him, but I don't want to get too excited yet because, again, he was available. He was out there on the open market. Giants reportedly got him for a 1-year deal, so it's a prove-it deal.
And he's a Northwestern kid, so he's probably smart.
Oh, they usually are. And, you're looking at Paulson Adebo now. Hopefully, Tay Banks is going to get himself into gear and try to compete for one of those 2 starting jobs on the outside. But here's the great news. If he doesn't hack it, if for whatever reason he can't make this thing work and unlock his talent, Newsome is absolutely a guy who you could feel comfortable putting out on the field.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. So we have had a lot of signings in the first 2 days. The frenzy was especially frenzy-ish this year.
Agreements, how about that?
Yes. And there's not many guys left, Paul. Usually by this time on Wednesday, there's still a few guys that you feel good about bringing in as a starter that are left on the market. This thing has been picked clean.
You know,
this is like showing up at your favorite bakery to get like a nice cinnamon roll like 11 o'clock on Saturday, and the place is, you get there and like all they have are what are those bad British pastries that are very dry? I can't think of the name of them.
One of those coated croissants or something?
No, I'll take a coated croissant.
You will? Okay.
Croissants are delicious.
Okay.
You don't like croissants?
They're okay.
What's wrong with croissants? They're crispy, they're buttery, they're delicious.
They're okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with them, but if you're looking for a sugary crumb bun and you have to settle for a croissant, that's a real letdown. Is it not?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Actually, what I wanted to bring up, and I'm sure you guys talked a lot about it yesterday, but I really wanted to just add 2 cents here. We told you guys from the very beginning, John and I were totally in lockstep that we
Scone. I was looking for scone.
Oh, scone. Okay, sure. I know of those.
I'm not a big fan of scones.
Nor am I.
A little dry.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
That's what I was looking for.
John and I had been in lockstep.
It might not be British either, by the way.
That we thought that Wan'Dale Robinson would get a nice number to leave, and he did. We also thought that Cordell Flott would get a nice number to leave, and he did. We both thought that Jermaine Illuminor might get a nice number to leave. And that did not happen, to our surprise and to both of our pleasant reactions.
And we're not the only ones that think that you know what, though? That tackle market never developed. And we asked the question on Monday at the end of the show, well, why haven't we seen any of these tackles go off the board yet? Is it because that they were having a bunch of guys bid and it was going to be ridiculous? Or were they waiting to get a big-time offer? And you saw what Braden Smith got?
I know.
You saw what Jermaine Illuminor got? What did Rasheed Walker's numbers? Did he not sign yet?
I didn't see.
I haven't seen him sign yet either.
I didn't see.
So
I didn't see his name.
The tackle market never really developed into a super high value market. I thought those guys would all be over 15. They were not.
Exactly.
And even aside from Linderbaum, even the guard market wasn't ridiculous. I mean, Zion Johnson got a pretty big deal. Who else? Edwards got a pretty big deal, but nothing in the 20s.
I was relatively surprised with the premium on offensive linemen. You know, the guys who were available, they may not have been great guys other than Linderbaum, but we always thought that, you know, they're going to get overpaid because people have money. Yeah. They're going to need to get decent players, and they'll pay them premium prices for mediocre play. Look, I'm not trying to disrespect Jermaine Illuminor. He's not a mediocre player.
No,
he's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We both overestimated what he was going to get offered, but I'm thrilled that he's back, and I know you are too.
No, I thought he would be between 15 and 17, and if reports are correct, he came in around 13.
And you know what? That was affordable for this team.
It's a good number.
Thank goodness.
I think they could have afforded 15 if they wanted to, but
I'm just glad. I'm glad he's back.
So that brings us to the final thing. We got a full bank of calls I want to get to here at 201-939-4513. So, to me, there are 2 spots, Paul, that I would still keep an eye on. And one of the spots actually does have some players left at it, and that's guard. So Wyatt Teller's still out there. He is not signed anywhere yet. Among others, anyone else interested?
I got 2 guys
group?
I'm looking at.
Who else you got?
I'm still looking at Kevin Zeitler, although he might be a little more expensive than I'd like. And I'm looking at Austin Corbett. Those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at.
When's the last time? Is Corbett healthy?
Yeah,
he's missed a bunch of games.
No, I read he plans on playing again this year, and so does Zeitler. Both of them have said that they plan on playing this year.
At that, I would just bring Van Roten back, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm saying if Van Roten is indeed leaving.
Okay.
Those are the 2 veterans that I think I would like to get at a very small price.
I would prefer Van Roten to those 2.
Oh.
I know him.
I like Zeitler. I really like Zeitler.
I don't know how much, but he's really old. I was like 4 years older than Van. He was played okay. It was not as good as he was 2 and 3 years ago.
Well, he's a lot older.
Well, wouldn't you rather have Van Roten, who's younger and hasn't missed a snap in 2 years?
Yeah, but Harbaugh knows Zeitler because he played in Baltimore.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't mean he's better.
No. Look,
and I like Zeitler too. I have no problem with Kevin Zeitler. He's a good player. And I think he might be more expensive than Van Roten too.
For continuity's sake, I'd rather have Van Roten come back.
Right.
But
I think
without an answer from him, I would rather go to Zeitler, and I would put Corbett as my next guy on the list because I'm looking at here at also price range.
Yeah, I would think all those guys are kind of on the same level for me. Like, it doesn't, they're all kind of the same.
I think again, Teller and Batonio are going to cost you more.
That's what I
really
was.
do.
I mean,
you don't think?
Yeah, probably. Yes, I would say Batonio and Teller will probably cost you more than either Zeitler or Van Rote. I agree with that.
So here's what I want to do.
But I don't think any of them are getting to 10.
Probably not.
No.
But now, if I can get either Van Roten or one of those two other guys on a very low price scale, okay, now I'm drafting a guard somewhere in the draft. I'm going to draft.
That would
a
have
guard.
to be day 3, I think.
I think it's probably going to be fourth round. Okay, I told you, I'm praying that Rutledge gets there. He probably won't. No, he probably won't. I know.
Oh,
I know.
round 4?
I know.
There's a better chance of going around 2.
Scatterboo wasn't supposed to get to 4 either.
No, but there was a chance for him because you knew he was small and he was a running back.
All right. He's the kind of guy I like. But anyway, there are guards. I'm hoping maybe the Giants can draft a guard in the 4th round who can be a developmental guy behind a one-year veteran stopgap. That's how I feel. But I'm with you. I would rather have Van Roten back if I had my
But that comes back to being, if you want to be a real physical run team, you better have good guards.
Yeah.
So that's something you're going to have to work on as you continue to go here. And then a wide receiver, where that market ended up being, surprisingly, because I think there's a very good draft for wide receivers this year, but that market ended up being very expensive.
Yeah.
And the Giants bring back Isaiah Hodgins. They lose Wanda Robinson. I think there could still be some work to do there.
Yes, I agree. I don't know at this point. I mean, Thornton is still available.
No, he signed with the Chiefs.
Did he?
I believe he re-signed.
Oh, I didn't see that one on the list. Okay. It's been fast and furious here.
I will double check that, but I believe he re-signed.
And I know Naylor left.
Yes.
He got signed. He's off the board. So I didn't have anybody else in particular that tickled my fancy. I know you mentioned Christian Kirk. Did he go somewhere?
2 years, 11 with the Chiefs.
Thornton is gone.
I thought he was gone. That was yesterday.
Kirk gone?
No, Kirk is not signed anymore.
Kirk is still
as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Yes.
I was talking to somebody, one of my longtime football guys, gurus from years ago, and he said to me today, you know what? If you're the Giants at 5 right now, you truly can pick the best player available because you're not taking a guard at 5, and that's just elementary. So you're going to pick the best player available at 5. You really don't have to put much need into this equation. And if you feel like you want to take whichever wide receiver you think is the best one in the draft, you could make an argument that that's a good value at 5. And I said, so if the Giants took Tate at 5, you wouldn't be too upset. He's like, why would I be? He's like, if you think Tate is of that value, you can absolutely take him at 5.
Well, if you think that.
If you think that. Or if you think one of the other receivers is there. Tyson or Lemon, whoever you think is there. If you think somebody is worthy of the 5th pick and they happen to be a wide receiver, that would, at this point, fit the equation of need and value.
Yeah, I think 37 would be a nice spot for that, too. There's usually guys there at the top of round 2 that you could get a wide receiver that are good players. And I don't think this draft will be any different. Tony Pauline on draft season, it's up there. I just tweeted it out. We went through his top 10s at each position on offense this week, and he had 5 receivers with round 1/2 grades.
5?
Yes.
Okay.
He has Lemon and Tyson in that category.
Both.
He does not have first-round grades on those guys. Tate is his only first-round wide receiver.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then he had Brazel from Tennessee.
Okay.
He had
Concepcion.
Actually, hold on.
Did you like Concepcion?
In fact, Johnny Mac, pass me that stack of white papers right there. Thank you. Yes, I believe Casey Concepcion was one of them, and it was so it was Brazel, Concepcion, Tyson, and Lemon, 4 of those guys, and then in second round he had Cooper, Denzel Boston, Chris Bell, Deion Burks, Elijah Surratt. So
there's some good players there.
And then Jeremy Bernard in round 3.
Yeah.
I would actually have him in round 2 and Surratt in round 3.
Okay,
but
so
there's a lot of guys.
Point is, the Giants don't look like they're going to go into the draft desperate at any position anymore, John. They're not desperate. They need some help.
I would not call myself desperate at wide receiver. I would consider that a pretty important position.
It's definitely a need. No question, it's a need. They got to get somebody, and I'd like to see them get somebody good, but I don't think they're desperate. It's a need. It is the number one need, and then the guard thing also, that's equal, depending upon what they know about Van Roten maybe coming back or not coming back. But those are the two. You're right. Those are the two biggest holes right now on the team, and they've done such a good job with these other spots. They really can go more best player available, I think, than we would anticipated a week ago.
Well, I mean that's what you always want to do, right?
Yes.
But look, I would be very wary unless you really are sure about Malik Neighbors' health. Like if you're going into week 1 and Malik Neighbors isn't healthy, you're screwed at wide receiver.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, again,
I think it's still a pretty big need.
They know more. I agree it's a big need.
But you can only know so much about whether or not Malik Neighbors will be ready on September 6th, on Wednesday, March 11th.
Again, I'll repeat.
Or even April 25th when the draft happens.
I agree that wide receiver and right guard share the biggest need value for the Giants right now.
Right.
I absolutely agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But see, desperate means you have a gigantic hole at the position. You don't have a starter there. You don't have an answer there. And there isn't one expected to be in the ballpark of where you're drafting. Let's just say the receiver crew was so thin that you could not get one at 37. But because...
Yeah, but that doesn't affect your need, though.
Well, you're more needy when you know that the supply is not very fruitful.
No, your need is not affected by the supply.
All right, I'm
supply
using
and
bad
demand
words.
are two different things.
I'm using bad words.
I'm talking demand. What's the demand for that?
Yeah, I understand.
Like you're not in trouble whether you're not going to be able to find someone.
Right.
But your need is still pretty heavy is my point.
When I talk about need, I say to myself, look, if there's no food on the shelf, and I have a hole here, and I know there's no food on the shelf, well, now I need it now badly because there's nothing there to help me out.
Well, but
I know there's going to be stuff there to help me out if I need it.
Whether there's food on the shelf, if you're hungry, you're hungry. You know what I'm saying? If you're hungry, you're hungry.
There are degrees of hunger.
Yes, but whether or not there's food available has no impact on how hungry you are.
All right, let me say this. The degree of desperation to get a receiver is lessened by the fact that there are plenty of 3-round receivers in this draft.
No, I would say the lack of worry that you might not be able to draft one is reduced, but that's
really what I'm trying to say. You're saying it in a different way, and I'm good with that.
Okay,
I will echo that particular statement the way you said it.
I got you. So those would be the two spots that I would kind of keep an eye on.
I totally agree with that.
Whether it's free agency or the draft, that the Giants might need to still do a little bit of work. But again, they know more about Malik Neighbors' health than we do, so maybe they know more than we do, and it won't end up being that big of a need. But I think that's kind of where we are right now. All right, 201-939-4513. We're coming to you from the Giants podcast studio presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. John Schmeelk, Paul Dottino with you right here on Big Blue Kickoff Live. And we appreciate you guys being with us. We start a different time today with the start of the league year. I don't believe the Giants have sent out anything official yet on any of their channels. I will look to see if any signings are official. Keep in mind, things can become official now, folks, but since you can't really give anybody physicals or anything like that until now, and some of the guys are not going to fly in on a Wednesday, that you might not have anything quite official yet. It might take a day or two to get some of these deals completed. So I don't see anything official yet, but we did have Micah McFadden, Paul, since he was a re-sign. That was more of an official thing. He had a press conference with the media today. What were your takeaways for what Micah McFadden had to say to the media?
Well, he came right out and said that he talked to the new coaching staff over the weekend, which I found it interesting. I mean, we know that Harbaugh and company have been incredibly busy, not only looking at tape, but then trying to figure out what they were going to do going to the combine and taking care of all of that business, and then trying to figure out who they would deal with in free agency. But McFadden said he finally got to talk to the new coaching staff over the weekend, and that's when he knew that there was a chance he would come back, because obviously they expressed the desire to bring him back into the fold. And so I thought that was kind of neat. The timing was a little close, but he knew, as he told both you and me before the season was over, he was going to have to sign a 1-year prove-it contract. He did say that the Giants medical staff did a great job in rehabbing him. He expects to be ready, a full go in the spring. He's already doing his off-season stuff. He's running, and said that he thought the Giants medical staff did such a great job with him. That was part of his decision, because they really helped him in terms of getting back to rehab, that he felt that was an important component in where he was going to land. He did say he had interest from some other teams, but ultimately this is where he decided to stay. So that was good. And I expected this. He expressed excitement about playing next to Tremaine Edmonds, who at 6'4", 250, as you said, he's a thumper, John. He is a thumper, and that will allow McFadden to do a little bit more roaming if you're going to have a thumper next to him.
Yeah, I mean, Edmonds might be better in coverage than McFadden, too, to be honest with you.
Possibly.
I don't want McFadden running with, like, tight ends and everything like that. So.
But I like Edmonds to plug some gaps and to come on interior blitzes, too.
Absolutely. Let's go to Keen in New Jersey. He's going to lead us off today. Keen, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. What do you got?
Totally agree with you that two of our biggest needs are receiver and guard, but I think one that's on par with that is interior defensive line. We need more help behind Dexter. We could use some more depth next to him.
I agree with that.
I really don't like Nacho. He's been running to stop the run, and every year we got him. The run defense hasn't been good. I know it's not his fault, but like the depth behind Dexter is just non-existent, and I'm kind of surprised Harbaugh didn't go out to spend big money on this. I kind of thought he would, but at this point in free agency, what do you guys think we should do? And just a quick note, what do you guys think of Christian Wilkins, if that's a possibility?
Yeah, I don't even know his health status. The whole thing with his foot, whether or not he ever had that surgery or anything like that.
That is a big ticket item, too.
Yeah, and the way that ended in the Raiders was ugly, and there's been no talk. I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to play anymore. Like, I don't even know. So I don't know the answer for you on Christian Wilkins. Obviously, he has talent and ability, and he's buddies with Dexter, but that did not go well with that foot injury he had with the Raiders. There's a lot of mystery around why that thing went south the way it did, but it went south. So just something to kind of keep in mind as you move forward here.
I got a plan for you, if you'd like. First of all, you're right. I mean, again, let's not think that the Giants are a complete picture right now, because they're not. Obviously, there are positions where you'd like to enhance the depth. I don't want to have anybody misconstrued what we're talking about when we say wide receiver and right guard are the biggest of needs. There are other spots that need some fortification and could use some help. Defensive tackle would definitely be the next one on the list. It's much further down, though, than those other two, which to me are on an island in terms of how much you would need those two spots. My thought right now is that you've got Darius Alexander as a potential starting at 3 technique. You've got Chauncey Golston, who I know the Giants did view as a 3 technique last year, but then his whole season turned out to be a washout. So what I'm suggesting is, if you're going to add a defensive tackle in that room, Dalvin Tomlinson just got cut. And
I don't know how much he has left.
And, well, here's what I want to do. I want him to be the backup nose. He's at 335 pounds right now, John. I want him to be the guy who spells Dexter Lawrence. So if he plays, 15 snaps a game? And obviously only on early rundowns, because that's what he is. He's a run-stopping plugger at the defensive tackle spot. He was very well liked here. You remember how everybody loved Dalvin Tomlinson. And he loved being here, but left because he got big money to go elsewhere. I don't know that he's shot. I think he played half of the snaps this past season. He's healthy. I would give him a call, and if you could get him on the real cheap, I'd love to see him back up Dexter Lawrence. I think that would be a nice fit.
I missed that Dylan Parham signed with the Jets. That must have just happened. Wow, he got $10 million a year, huh? That was more than I thought he was going to get. That's actually a good deal for him. Chidobe Awuzie went 1 year, $5 million as well.
I know.
I'm not sure. I did not see that.
But they got Newsome, so Awuzie became irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, and in terms of the guys that are left, I mean, defensive tackle is just a very weak position in free agency this year. Also a very weak position in the draft, though. You might be able to get a nose tackle like in round 4 this year, like a Dom Orange or someone like that from Iowa State. That can plug in there and be a nose tackle. Somebody the other day called up about Sebastian Joseph Day, who was with Tennessee and Denard Wilson the last 2 years. Is that someone, a defensive tackle you might be interested in? So it isn't a very deep position, to be totally honest with you. But, there are some guys that you could find there on the margins that, might be able to help you a little bit.
You're not going to spend much money on a backup nose, though. That's going to be a relatively low-cost position, I would think.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a big money position. No. I agree with that.
Is that it? Hello?
Yeah, thanks, you guys. Appreciate you taking my call.
No, I appreciate it. And then you asked for our plan. At wide receiver, I'm just going through the guys that are left here. I don't think Juwan Jennings is signed anywhere yet, right?
I don't think I would. No, he has not. But I don't think I would. I would venture to spend money there.
Stephon Diggs is still out there. If that gets you excited, I mentioned
Not
Christian
really.
Kirk and then Darnell Mooney. He would be a really cheap veteran minimum type guy if you want to go there. And then that's kind of it. There's not much after that, to be honest with you. So it's gotten the pool has gotten shallow quickly as we hit day 3 of free agency.
Yeah. I thought about Mechie for a moment, the former Houston Texan. I kind of had him in the back of my mind, but then I didn't put him on my list.
Let's go to Demel in Buffalo. Demel, what's going on?
Hey, it's Danelle. Hi, Paul. Hi, John. I just wanted to talk to you guys about the run defense. It kind of goes in line with the previous caller. I'm not going to focus on the interior, depth there. I just wanted to discuss the run defense with you guys.
Sure.
As a fan, attending games and watching on a television, it's just teams just handing the ball off, and running backs are just getting 6-7 yards a carry just religiously. And it's just if we're going to embrace, the tough-nosed physicality on the offensive side of the ball, I really think, the run defense was the biggest issue the last couple years. I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. So, do you guys think it was more of a scheme thing? Or, what are you guys' assessment on, the run defense and, the urgency that it needs to be corrected with?
I mean, I think there's a lot of urgency. I think that's number one. John Harbaugh has been pretty clear about how stopping the run is a necessity and a priority. Yep. So I think in terms of that, yes, absolutely. Stop the run and run the ball. I think those are two big things that John Harbaugh wants to make sure that his teams do well, for one. Number two, I think it's a little bit of everything. Because if you go back, this team couldn't stop the run in Wink Martindale's last year either. And that's a completely different scheme than what Shane Bowen had. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is, could a scheme help it? Yeah, I think a little bit. But I think having that more of a thumper or middle linebacker to help, will help instead of Edmonds rather than Bobby, who I think Bobby's a really good player, but he's more of a run-to-the-ball guy than a take-on-blocks guy. I think being a little bit better at that second defensive tackle position will help. But I don't think that was a main thing. And then, frankly, the angles taken by your guys in the secondary have just not been very good. Even, your linebackers at times. I always say this. A 4 or 5 yard run is given up by the defensive line. A 15 or 20 yard run is given up by your linebackers and defensive backs. Mm-hmm. So
fair enough.
I think those are the things that have to get better. I think some of that will be helped by different schematics, and you hope Denard Wilson's schematics are better. In that regard, we'll have to wait and see. But that's how I see it, at least, Paul.
You don't finish near the bottom of the pile for the last 3 years in rush defense without having a bunch of things going wrong.
Yeah.
So it can't just be the scheme. It's certainly going to be a big part of it. But I'm with John. I think it's quite clear that in a number of cases, guys were not performing up to the level that they were expected to, and they have to take that part of the blame. And I'm sure John Harbaugh is going to point those fingers and say to those guys, hey, I've watched the tape. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't wrap up. You didn't get a good angle. Why? What's the story? Because you better do it here. Otherwise, you're not going to be here very long.
2 years ago, missed tackles were a big issue. It wasn't as big of an issue last year. Though it did still pop up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and in terms of just having the personnel, you didn't hear much about this when Leonard Williams was next to Dexter, did you?
Agree.
And Leonard Williams, you guys know, like president of his fan club, always was. And for some reason, people weren't happy when the Giants got him. I never understood that. And then he proved everybody wrong because he was dynamite. And he's been great for Seattle, too. Mm-hmm. Pairing Dexter with the right guy. And I'm hoping, I don't know what Darius Alexander's upside's going to be. I don't know the answer to that. To say he's going to be Leonard Williams is stupid. That's just dumb. Because Leonard Williams...
I'm glad you said that.
Well, because Leonard Williams is very high. He's a Pro Bowl level player.
He was all pro. He was a top 10 pick in the draft.
Top player. To say he's that is just dumb. But to say that Darius Alexander can be part of the answer, yeah, maybe he can be. I hope. Okay?
So one more thing that I wanted to speak about as well. Not to put you guys in a weird position of the Dexter Lawrence thing. I feel like, me personally, I would like to see Dex get some type of adjustment to his contract? Because I know he had like a pretty much a down year, recovering from the elbow and things of that nature. But he's just such a pillar of this team, and I wouldn't risk, if he's upset about not having like more guaranteed money or more money, like I'm banking on Dexter Lawrence to bounce back. And I want him to, be a part of this team. So how do you guys feel? Like, is it a thing where you guys think it's best to just, leave money alone? Or is it best to, make him happy and give him more? Because I know that I believe that he's going to return to form.
Well, look, I appreciate the call, Danelle. I appreciate it, man. I think that's tough because you do want Dexter Lawrence here long term. He's a cornerstone player, or as John Harbaugh would say, a middlestone player, which he said during his press conference at the Combine.
Yeah.
He's extremely important. And when he plays his best football, Dexter Lawrence is a top 10 defensive player in the league.
Yes, he is.
Really, really good. That did not show up consistently last year. So coming off, he's a heavier guy. He's a nose tackle. He's a heavier guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those guys fall off quicker than guys that are not as heavy. That's just the way it goes, right? Look at, Rodgers, right? Albert Hainsworth.
Mm-hmm.
These were guys that were terrific players, but they dropped off quickly.
Well, Snacks Harrison.
Correct.
I mean, when he started to fade, it went quick.
It went quickly, right? So that's something to keep in mind. That's something that, Joe Shane, John Harbaugh, and Dawn Aponte will have to have a discussion about and figure out. So, look, I want all these guys to get paid. I think Dexter's been a great Giant, but he didn't have a great year last year. So you can bring his cap number down by renegotiating his contract too, so that can help the team financially. I don't know where anybody stands on that. So we'll have to wait and see. There are advantages and disadvantages to that decision. But yes, you're right. You certainly want Dexter here and engaged. But I will also say, as someone that had 2 years left on his contract, even if they don't do something new, he should be here and he should be really engaged anyway. Like, there should not be a standoff where it's like, if I don't get a contract, I'm not going to show up and play hard. Like, that's nonsense. That's not a guy you want here, right?
Absolutely not.
That's not how that should work. And I'm not implying that's what Dexter Lawrence is doing. I do not think that's what Dexter Lawrence is doing. But that's what the implication is of the call, right? When you say, well, you better give him an extension, otherwise he's not going to be happy.
You're not going to get max effort. That's kind of what the caller's saying.
Yes, and I don't.
We disagree with that.
And I don't believe that's it is character, right? So that's a decision that the franchise will have to make based on what their discussions are with him, what he wants, what the financials are, and all that stuff.
I'll give you a little bit of a different angle on this answer. John nor I will ever discuss what somebody's money or contract terms should be or should not be in terms of, do you want to renegotiate the guy? Do you want to give him a pay cut? Joe Shane gets paid a lot of money to do that. So does Dawn Aponte. That's not who we are. But here's what I will tell you. Dexter Lawrence, he's coming into a whole new deal here. John Harbaugh's running this show now. And this guy is serious. Not that Brian Daboll wasn't, because Brian Daboll was a good football man. And he was serious too, and he could get angry, and we heard him say a lot of nasty things at times at practice too. Okay, he would get on guys, but let's just say John Harbaugh came here proclaiming his first day on the job that the Giants can be back in the playoff conversation in 2026, which means he's coming in with guns blazing, and he knows that Dexter Lawrence has to have a Dexter Lawrence type season for the Giants to be into that conversation. Does he not, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And maybe he wants to be with Dexter for a year before you go down that road. Like, I have no idea what the answer to the question is.
I would simply say, I think John Harbaugh is going to raise everyone's level of accountability, no matter where it was before.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not saying it was bad. No matter where it was, you can lift it up another 30 to 40 to 50%. And that goes for everybody on the roster, because they got to prove to the new sheriff in town, who has a goal of turning this team around immediately, that they are worthy of being on his team and of getting snaps. And if that doesn't motivate you to get you to be the best player you can be, I don't know what will.
Yeah. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Let's go to Giovanni in Jacksonville. He's up next. Giovanni, and then Jason Yarp after Giovanni. Giovanni, what's happening, man?
Hey, John. Hey, Paul. How you guys doing?
Hi.
What's going on?
Hey, I think the Giants have been killing this free agency. It's only the third day in. I think a lot of Giants fans across social media are just freaking out for no reason. They're just like worried about all these open holes on the roster, but I think they just got to keep in mind that John Harbaugh, Donna Ponte, and Joe Shane have like a huge tenure in the league. They know exactly what they're doing. The Giants fans got to relax, take a deep breath, just let the process happen, and the players will come in. And we just got to trust John Harbaugh. Like, look at what he did with the Ravens for 18 years. Like, he's just going to bring that and more. And I just think that everyone that they've signed so far, big fan. I would give it an A so far. As far as, like, what we need, I would just say that I can see interior offensive line and defensive line signed in the next, like, week or two up until the draft. I mean, players are going to get traded, released. Like, who knows? But I think the free agency has gone really well, pretty smooth so far. Not sure if you guys agree. Also, predictions for the draft. I think this is the most unpredictable draft in years.
I agree.
Like, picks 2 in the first round, 2 to 32. Like, you have literally no idea. And I think that's incredible because it gives, like, Giants fans hope that we can get the best player available for what we need. But I'm going to predict that we trade back and then we draft Vega from Penn State. If we don't draft him, we'll probably take Mansour Delane. That's going to be my top 2 in round 1. If we don't go that route,
Giovanni, I'd be very, very surprised if they selected guard at number 5. I would fall off this chair.
Yeah.
Paul would have to catch me.
We'd both be on the floor.
All right, so then Johnny Mack, you'd have to host the show.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, there are no Quentin Nelsons in this draft, John.
We don't know like who they're going to bring in. So I think considering he's like the top 2 interior offensive linemen, and we did bring back Jermaine Illuminor, like the sky's the limit for the offensive line. And considering we have both bookend tackles, like we're going to be just fine. But I can definitely see Giants fans freaking out if we do take a guard round 1. So if that's not the case, I'm cool with like a cornerback or wide receiver round 1. And then round 2, if we don't trade back, like probably, the best interior offensive line or defensive lineman in round 2. But who knows?
How far down did you want to trade back in the first round? You said you might want to do that. How far do you want to go?
Well, I guess it depends on who's available. Because if Reuben Bain is there at 5 and someone wants him, someone's probably going to trade up. Or Sonny Styles. If we don't want to take Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs, I can see us trading back if we can get enough assets back for going to maybe 10 the furthest with the Bengals, but who knows?
No, I hear you. And Jim, I have one other question for you. You said people I don't look at Giants Twitter. I just can't. It's going to make my head explode.
It is terrible.
What are people freaking out about?
All these content creators are just freaking out about the fact that John Harbaugh, Donna Ponte, and Joe Shane haven't been more aggressive, I guess. Even though they've already brought a ton of talent to the roster, they're just more worried about the line on both sides of the ball. But I think fans just need to relax, trust the process, and stop freaking out.
Well, so they want to spend big business. Look, they brought in a linebacker. They brought in an offensive tackle. What? So they wanted another guard, another defensive tackle? Is that what the freak out is?
It sounds like they wanted to fill every hole before the draft.
Only right guard, and we can find someone. We'll find a veteran for sure. And then we just need more depth, really.
No, I got you. Appreciate the call, Giovanni. Thank you. Look, the goal key is you don't want holes going into the draft.
No, but
you pick best player available.
You can't have a perfect roster before the draft.
No, perfect roster, everything. No, but you would like to have somebody you're comfortable starting at every position before the draft.
Which is why it wouldn't surprise me if they signed, we talked about an inexpensive guard. Get an inexpensive guard in here, and maybe even get an inexpensive wide receiver in here. Here's the bottom line, though, and here's the interesting part. I think we have an assumption here, John, based on everything that we've been able to research to this point, that there are a lot of wide receivers of quality in this draft, and there are more interior offensive linemen than maybe normal in this draft that could potentially compete, at least for a starting job. Well, is it any coincidence that that's the 2 spots that the Giants have not paid attention to in free agency? They know. They spent the money for the spots that maybe they felt they could not get in the draft and figured the stronger parts of the draft we might be able to do business in. Makes sense, right?
Sure.
So,
but again, you don't want to head into a draft saying, I have to draft somebody at this position.
You never want to draft hungry or thirsty or desperate. I absolutely agree, which is why, again, I think with whatever little money they have left, supposedly they're kind of dwindling, I would like to see them sign a veteran receiver and a veteran guard.
Yeah, exactly right.
I would.
Yeah.
But that doesn't preclude me from drafting one at either position because you need a developmental player too.
I thought they might be a little bit more aggressive than this, but this is about what I thought they would be in terms of how they would approach this. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. We can screen a couple more, Johnny Mac, as we take Jason in New Haven. Jason, what's going on?
Hey, fellas, how you guys doing?
What's up, man?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for taking the call. I've been pleased so far with the free agency. If I could just make one statement before the Giants. Man, this free agency has been kind of crazy. Jalen Phillips getting that contract. I forgot where he went. Man, man, they're taking a real big gamble. I'm glad Panthers. The Giants, in my opinion, I'm glad they're not dipping their toes into the Alex
Jason, I will say this, though.
Phillips.
You had the Pierce, the Linderbaum, and the Phillips contracts. There were a couple other edge contracts that were crazy, but the wide receiver contracts didn't go much higher than we thought. The offensive tackle contracts weren't as bad as we thought. I thought Devin Lloyd came in for less than I thought he would at linebacker. So in some ways, yeah, there were some outlandish things, but the rest of the market was not as, honestly, I thought it might be a little bit worse, to be honest with you.
Right, yeah. So, but anyway, back to our team. A few things. I loved it so far. I loved the Tremaine Edmonds signing. I've loved him since he was at Virginia. I believe he was at Virginia Tech when he came out the draft, if I'm not mistaken. I've always loved his tape. I was hoping we signed him before he went to the Bears. Very physical player. Prototype, 6'4", 250, can rush a little bit, can play coverage. He's had 14 interceptions in his career.
Yeah.
I love that signing. The Jermaine, I mean, what can we say? He's a fan favorite. I'm glad we was able to keep him. The punter, the kicker, Harbaugh is making a concerted effort to get these specialist situation that's been, to me, nauseating over the last 2 years. And him and Joe have done a good job of getting some specialists in here to kind of shore up that kicking game.
Mm-hmm.
Two more points, or you cut me off. But
no, go ahead. No, Jason, go ahead. You're fine. Go ahead.
There's some guys still in free agency. Maybe the Giants are just kind of weighing, letting the market play out. Offensive guard, I have no problem with them bringing back Van Roden. I think most fans fail to realize we were the fifth best rushing offense in the league last year. I think that kind of goes over people's heads, and the O-line that was there last year was part of that. Of course, Jackson Dart has a part to play with his.
He does. Good point.
But our offensive line had a big part to play in that fifth rushing offense we had last year. So I'd have no problem bringing Van Roten back. Another guy that I like, I don't know how his career's ended up. I think he's moved inside. Trevor Penning would be an interesting name to look at as far as a young, he has that.
I thought the Chargers re-signed him.
Yeah, let me
I thought the Chargers brought him back. I could be wrong about that. Let me check that. I thought the Chargers re-signed him.
Okay. And then D tackles, there's a lot of interesting names, and I'll say this, I brought his name up the last 3 years, and for some reason, he still continues to play at an unbelievable in my opinion, is Calais Campbell. He has ties to John Harbaugh. I know he's older. He's 39. But man,
older. No, you know what? I don't hate it. I don't hate it. If you want to bring him in, have him play 15 to 20 snaps a game as a rotational guy in the defensive line, he played well enough last year. I'd have no problem with that.
Right.
He's been around
is available. Jonathan
he's ancient.
Available.
Indeed he is. I'll let him know that if we see him.
Well, he was born in like the mid-'80s.
DJ Reed is available. Our old friend Ashawn Robinson is available. So there's some really grizzled veteran deep tackles available. And my last point for the draft, I've been a Tate fan. I'd be fine with whoever they take, of course. Wouldn't be high as a safety, but we've already talked about this. It's fine. The two names that I'm kind of circling now is it'd be interesting to see what happens. The guard from Penn State. Now, I know people say you can't really take him at 5.
You can't.
But like I said last week, and it's fine. This is not an argument thing. I'm a big proponent. If you could take a safety at 5, you could take a running back at 5, you could take a guard at 5. So.
Yeah, but what if the guard doesn't have the grade? Never mind the position. I'm not against taking a guard if he's like Quentin Nelson and he belongs in the top 5 because his grade is that high. I don't think anybody believes that there is a guard graded in the top 5, unless, John, you've heard somebody say that.
Absolutely not. Tony doesn't even have it as a first-round player.
And I get it, fellas. I'm not in the NFL. I'm not in the meetings. I think he's going to go higher than people really think come draft night. I think he's a clean prospect.
I think, my guess, Jason, I think he'll go somewhere between like 12 and 17.
Okay, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the first linemen taken off the board. But anyway, the last name I'll bring up, and I brought it up last week, and I'm not suggesting they do it, and I get that Giants Nation will probably it'd be difficult. But man, if we're talking best players available, I would be interested to see what John Harbaugh and Shane think about Jeremiah Love.
Here we go.
Man, you knew this was coming. John.
Oh, I know. We had a call about this yesterday with Malusis, and you saw me and my hand starting to shake uncontrollably as I answer questions about it.
Listen, let me make a 30-second statement on him. Okay. And I'm not necessarily saying he needs to be taken. I'm not. But if everybody's saying this draft is not at the top, it's bereft of blue chip talent. If that's what all the draft gurus and all those guys and ladies saying that it's bereft of blue chip talent. If we are to believe that, and you have a blue chip talent there, knowing that John Harbaugh is a big believer in the running game, if it is to believe that Jeremiah Love is one of the better players at 5, and he's sitting there with his explosiveness and freaky contact balance, and he can score anywhere on the field, I don't think having the 2 running backs we have now, which I love, will preclude us from taking him. Knowing that our O-line situation is better, and that's a fact, it's better than when we took Barkley, I don't necessarily think it's so far to believe that maybe Love would be in the conversation if he's there as one of the best players on the board.
No, he would be.
And
he would be.
And I will take, like I said, I know you guys got to go other callers, but I don't think it's a far-fetched reason to believe that a John Harbaugh team would take Jeremiah Love, especially now that we have Patrick Ricard, who's probably the best fullback in the game. I know people will say the guy from San Francisco, but pure blocking fullback is Ricard.
Yeah, he could be.
I don't know if it's a far-fetched belief that Jeremiah Love will be there, and I'll take the call off the
thank
field.
you, Jason.
Lance Campbell, fellas, thank you.
Appreciate the call. Look, from a value perspective, you're absolutely right. He's going to be maybe the highest-graded player on the board when the Giants pick, or at least in the top 3. He is. He's that good.
Yeah.
He's a really good player.
Yeah.
You could also argue he's the best offensive weapon that's going to be on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's going to be higher graded than probably any other wide receiver that's out there. Maybe I'm going to be wrong and the Giants have, Tate or somebody else graded higher than him. I don't personally, but, they know a lot better than I do. But as I joked with Malusis yesterday, all those arguments we just heard, just put me in a time machine back to 2018.
Yeah.
The same exact arguments that we heard.
Yeah.
And you already have a pretty good player there in Cam Scatterbo. You have a player in Tyrone Tracy Jr. that's shown he can be a running back in the National Football League and get significant carries as well. And look, I get it. If the Giants end up picking him because he's by far their highest graded player there, I understand that he's going to help the team win games. He's going to help your quarterback. He's going to help your offense. And do I think it's far-fetched that John Harbaugh would favor a move like that? I don't, which is why I would not have a huge problem with it, because I know John Harbaugh would have a plan for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not personally my personal opinion, which, again, they know a lot better than I do, and I will yield to their expertise. That's not necessarily with a running back the direction I would go with the top 5 pick. Even though, even for me, he's graded higher than probably Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Like, he just is. But I personally just would not go for a running back in that spot. Just my personal preference. That's where I stand.
I couldn't do it either. You know, he's got to be a Saquon Barkley level player. I don't think he's there for me to do that. It's also important to remember that if you're going to put the need component at all in the equation, as John mentioned, when the Giants took Barkley in 2018, the previous year their starting running back was Orleans Darkwa. They didn't have Cam Scatterbo. They didn't have Tyrone Tracy. I'm sorry, but the need component and what you have on the roster does have to have some impact on this decision, even if you're going to try to go by best player available. It does not equate for me. I couldn't do it.
All right, last call, and then we got to get to the YouTube comments. Lucas in New Jersey. Lucas, what's up?
What up, gentlemen? Just to piggyback off the last call with Love, I'm with you guys. Definitely don't want Love. I don't care how good he is. He's definitely not even on Saquon's level. Scatterbo, I think people are forgetting the kind of energy he has and what he did for the team chemistry-wise. I think he's, I want that guy holding the rock. And if I'm mistaken, I think Tracy had a 1,000-yard season as well. So I don't think. Plus, we got Singletary for cheap.
And Lucas, the bigger problem is, to your point, and I apologize for interrupting. You can finish after I'm done.
No.
Like,
please.
if you're drafting a running back at 5, he's got to be on the field 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So then what? Scatterbo's going to get so 7 touches a game?
Scatterbo and
what are we
Tracy
doing here?
And just have them go off into obscurity.
You're wasting their
talent.
talents.
If you're going to convert Tracy to a slot receiver again, and that's kind of crazy.
No,
but,
do not
I
do
agree
that.
100%. He needs to play. I want him to be a bell cow if I'm taking him in the top 5, and I need him to be a freak. I think he'll be a good player, but I had a higher grade on James Cook coming out of college, even though he was underdrafted, just because, I like players that their dad played in the NFL. That's why I'm on Team Styles. But my point was to call and talk about the game changer that I think Patrick Ricard is going to be. I just think about Isaiah Likely on one side. I think about Theo on another side. I think about Scat and Ricard on the goal line, 4th and 2. I'm in the stands every week. I want to see us be able to just punch in, and I think we will.
Yeah.
And then if it's me, and the world is perfect, and the stars align, all the planets are aligned, or seemingly aligned, because they're never really truly aligned, I would trade down. And my guy this year is Monroe Freeland. I saw him running. I love the footwork, the feet work. If we could trade down, get him at some point. If we trade down really deep, someone maybe AC with the 29th pick wants to trade up for Love, we get that pick next year's first and a second, and we can scoot. I don't think Monroe Freeland will be up there, but I like Monroe Freeland. I like Kobe Young, and I love the signings of the kicker and the punter. I know the punter's coming off injury, but it doesn't matter. He can compete for the starting role. I think we had another kicker that did pretty decent.
The kicker's coming off injury, not the punter.
No, Lucas, you said Colby Young?
No, I said, Kobe Young's a good prospect, but I'm saying, our kicker's coming off injury.
No. Oh, I thought you said the punter was coming off an injury, because Stouts wasn't hurt. He punted 50 yards a kick last year. The kicker that they signed from they agreed to from Miami.
Yeah, go ahead.
He was the one who was hurt.
Yeah, the kicker can compete with the guy we brought in late last year, I feel.
Sauls.
Yeah, and obviously with Colby
exactly.
Young, you aren't talking first round for Colby Young, right? That's why I was confused.
No, he's if we can get him with the 4th or 5th.
Yeah,
round,
correct. Correct.
I'd be really happy with that. Yeah. Colby Young, late round, Monroe Freeland. If we can get him, I think he's going to be that kind of Quentin Nelson, the Bills guy, that guard. I think he's 6'7", runs real good, big hands, 34 3/4-inch arms. He's pretty good, 315. I think I like him. I really like him. The Georgia guy.
The only problem with Freeling is that where are you going to play him? Mm-hmm. You just signed, he's a left tackle, Andrew Thomas is here for the foreseeable future, and you just signed a Luminor 3-year deal. So I just wonder, where would you plan on utilizing him if you drafted him that high?
You also have Marcus Bowe on the roster.
I love Bo. I really do. And I think it'd be like a plethora of riches, right? I know Jermaine Illuminor is a good right tackle, but he's flexible. He's played other positions on the line. I think you can plug and play him at a guard spot.
He prefers to stay there, though. right? He's made very clear to us that he wants to be at home at right tackle. Now, you can't just go to whatever a guy wishes.
He just got paid.
But he just got paid at that spot, and I think that's where he believes he's going to be.
At that spot. Yeah, keep Illuminor at right tackle, keep Andrew at left tackle. Then you got, let's say Bo. I'm solid on him. I love him. I think he could have even stepped up into a starting tackle spot from what I saw. But maybe, Harbaugh has the track record. He can convert, let's say, a tackle into a guard and kind of make that work. Maybe Freeland comes in as a 6'7" guard, and then you got Bo on the other side, and you got two massive guards that play pretty well. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I got you.
But yeah, that would be a little bit of a misfit there, but I'd rather have an extra good tackle than just, someone gets injured and then we're like, putting out James Hudson out there.
No, Lucas, look, I think your argument, and unfortunately, we got to run. It's 5 o'clock. We got to go. Thanks for the call. Good stuff. To have a good backup for Andrew Thomas, I got no beef with that.
Right.
That's fine.
Understood.
But I don't know if you're using the 12th or 15th pick in the draft for a swing tackle.
You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do that. I will give you one very quick thought about this whole thought about moving down. We've heard a couple of people now talk about moving down. If the Giants think any one of those Styles, Downs, Tate, if any one of those guys are top 5 on their grading board or on their chart, they have a responsibility to take one of those guys.
Well, it depends how much of a difference they have between those guys and who would be available at 11 or 12.
Yeah.
If the grades are similar, then trading down's not going to kill you.
No, but here's the option. If you are going to trade down, I would suspect you're going to want to get a 3rd-round pick, which you lost in the trade with Houston.
Minimum.
To get Dart, right? So that's the kind of trade you would be looking for if you were going to move. But I suspect that whoever they have in the top 5 or 6 grades is going to have quite a gap before they get to the next round of guys. I suspect. If that's true, they got to pick a player.
I don't know where the cliff is. Is the cliff after
sure
3 guys and after 4 guys?
I don't know where it is either. If the cliff is there, though, they got to take the guy. If the cliff is a little bit down, then you can consider trying to get an extra pick. Then it makes sense. But that's the only way it makes sense.
All right, real quick, we got some YouTube comments. Guys, great job. Great job today, by the way. We get different time for the show. Called in. You really...
Different calls, too.
And you brought some good questions and topics. We like this. Good stuff. All right, we got a couple from Blaine Toby 2865. We back. Pat Ricard in the Wrecking Ball scat attack. Just take a Buckeye with number 5 and my boy Omar Cooper Jr. in the 2nd round. I'm fine with all that.
Let it roll, baby.
Let's do it.
Roll.
I'm with you. Good comment. Here we go. Another one. Same guy. John and Paul, what are your thoughts about a guy like DJ Reader as a switch-in guy, a little older, a little cheaper, but a big body? I think DJ Reader signed.
I thought he was, too.
Did he not?
I thought he was, too.
I will check that right now. Okay. I believe
I should have kept my
DJ Reader contract. I believe he signed with somebody.
He does.
A 2-year, $22 million deal with the Lions. Shocking. They want a big plugger in the middle.
Exactly.
With Dan Campbell.
He'd be a little too expensive, I think, for what the cash the Giants have left.
Yeah, he would have been a good fit, but he signed somewhere else, so that's not going to work. Aiden Fink, John, when you interview Patrick Ricard, can you ask him about the backstory behind his nickname Pancake Pat, and if he wants to keep it with the Giants? Well, usually you don't have a choice. If it's your nickname, it's your nickname. You can't just cancel nicknames.
And chances are, if you watched him play, you know where it came from.
And he likes pancakes. Ryan Roon, do y'all think they are building a different kind of team, something unlike what is out there, real old-school smash-mouth football team, not dependent on wideouts? Yeah, I mean, look, I think John Harbaugh wants to build a team that's a smash-mouth team, but you have to have wide receivers in the National Football League.
No, you do.
Even if you go to his time in Baltimore, he used premium picks on wide receivers very often. Now,
they didn't always work out.
Didn't work out a lot of the time.
No,
you go back to Bashard Perryman, and there was another big wide receiver that they drafted that did not work out in the
Bateman,
late first round.
Right?
Yeah, he's been okay.
He was all right.
He's been okay.
It wasn't what they thought.
And Zay Flowers has certainly worked out okay. But there was even someone back in Harbaugh's early days that they drafted as a big wide receiver.
They even went and signed OBJ.
They did.
Point. They were so hurting for a big play guy.
WMTCC, hey, I'm jumping in late, so I'm on the Ricard signing. I want to know what Paul thinks about running something like a diamond formation with Ricard and the running backs. And then this relates to our final question. Yo, John and Paul, is the wishbone formation coming back with the signing of Ricard or the T formation?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It wouldn't shock me. You get the 22 personnel in the tight red zone inside the 5. Ricard and Scat in the backfield with Theo Johnson and Manhurts as your tight ends? That would not shock me.
I would love to see the old-fashioned 1970s pro set. with the split backs. I'd love to see that with those guys.
And
And
I would think more I formation with that personnel package, but that's okay.
Either way. And how about this? All 3 tight ends down there inside the 5-yard line. Manhurts, Johnson, Likely. Get them all in there and just tell everybody in the stadium, we're running the ball right down your throats, baby, and smash it right in. How about that? Ha ha. Thank you, John Harbaugh. You're bringing back football the way it's supposed to be played. I love it.
Do you want a drink? Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Sure.
I'm great.
All right. I'm going to text your wife and warn you the state you're in when you get home to make sure she's ready to handle this.
All good.
This is exciting that I've seen you all week.
Well, it's been a good couple of days.
That's Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. For Paul Dottino, I am John Schmeelk. From the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. We will see you next time, everybody. Tomorrow, 12:30, by the way. Check it out, Moose and Lance.